The stars glimmered like scattered gems across the velvet sky, reflecting off the crystal towers of the capital. Princess Lyra walked slowly along the elevated walkway, her gown shimmering under the starlight. Her heart was heavy with worry, though she tried to hide it behind the graceful posture that all royal children were trained to maintain. The city around her was alive with lights and quiet murmurs of the late-night guards, but something felt wrong. Her human husband walked beside her, his hand lightly brushing hers. To the people of the empire, he seemed ordinary, soft-spoken, modest, and unassuming. He had none of the alien grace or power that Lyra's kind possessed. She had married him for love, yes, but she often reminded herself that he was just a fragile human. He could not possibly match the strength of the warriors around them, nor the intelligence of the scholars who advised her. Yet, when he smiled at her now, there was a calmness in his eyes that made her heart ache with both comfort and unease. Lyra said quietly, noticing the tension in her shoulders, "You've been unusually quiet tonight. Are you all right?" She shook her head slightly, her hair falling in waves over her shoulder. "I feel something. The sky, it doesn't feel right." He followed her gaze to the heavens. The stars twinkled, but there was a strange shimmer on the horizon, a faint, almost imperceptible flicker that set her nerves on edge. "Whatever it is," said, "we'll handle it together." She wanted to believe him, but doubt crept in. They were in the heart of the empire, surrounded by the best-trained warriors. Yet, somehow, the instinct in her chest screamed that danger was coming, a danger that might not be stopped by anyone, not even the palace guards. The sound of alarms shattered the still night, sending the palace into chaos. Red and gold warning lights bathed the walls, flashing rapidly. Lyra's advisors shouted orders, their voices urgent and trembling. The princess gripped his hand tightly, feeling his warmth anchor her amidst the panic. "They're coming," she whispered, fear finally breaking through her calm. His hand squeezed hers. "Then we face them. No matter what comes, we face it together." She looked at him in surprise. The words, so simple, carried a weight she had not noticed before. There was no fear, no hesitation, just a quiet certainty. And yet she reminded herself he was still human, ordinary, fragile, not like her people, not like the warriors who had trained their entire lives to fight and protect. The first enemy ships appeared over the city's horizon, dark silhouettes against the glowing sky. The palace guards rushed to their stations, energy weapons igniting with deadly precision. Lyra felt her pulse quicken. She had witnessed many battles from a distance, studied the strategies, and seen warriors fall. Yet seeing it all unfold with her husband at her side made her chest tighten in fear. She noticed steps slightly ahead, not out of recklessness but instinct. His eyes scanned the approaching threat, and there was a strange serenity in his expression, calm, measured, almost unnatural for a human. Lyra's heart skipped. She had always believed he was ordinary, incapable of feats beyond human strength. But watching him now, standing firm as the first flashes of enemy fire lit the sky, she felt a spark of doubt. Could he really be as ordinary as she had thought? A shiver ran through her, not entirely from fear. Somewhere deep inside, a quiet hope stirred, a hope that maybe, just maybe, humans carried strength in ways that could never truly understand. And as the first alien ship drew near, Lyra's hand tightened around. She realized, perhaps for the first time, that her husband's true nature might be waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. The alarms blared through the palace halls, echoing like thunder across the crystal towers. Red light bathed the walls, reflecting off Lyra's anxious face. Outside, the alien ships hovered menacingly, their hulls glinting in the moonlight, and strange shadows moved like predators across the sky. The palace guards scrambled, energy weapons humming to life, but the first wave of attackers descended faster than anyone could react. Lyra's heart pounded violently. She gripped his hand, trying to steady herself. "They're too fast," she whispered, panic creeping into her voice. "Even the guards." His jaw tightened. "Then we'll slow them down," he said, calm as ever. "Just stay close to me." The first alien dropped through the air like a meteor, crashing near the palace entrance. The guards fired beams, but the creature twisted in midair, evading with uncanny agility. Lyra's breath caught as she saw step forward. For a human, his movements seemed ordinary at first. He walked, no, approached with measured steps. But then he reacted. In the blink of an eye, he dodged the alien's swipe, grabbed its arm, and hurled it with a force that sent it crashing into the palace wall. Lyra's eyes widened. What? She thought, disbelief making her knees weak. Another alien lunged at him. Didn't flinch. He twisted, caught its momentum, and slammed it to the ground with a precision that left the surrounding guards staring. His strength was not just physical, it was calculated. Each movement, each strike seemed to flow naturally, almost effortlessly, yet with devastating effect. Lyra stumbled back, clutching her chest. He's just human, she whispered, as if saying it aloud might make it true. But the truth was undeniable. Her husband moved like a force of nature, faster and stronger than any warrior she had ever seen in person. The attackers, sensing a formidable opponent, regrouped and struck in unison. Energy blasts whizzed through the air, explosions rocking the palace grounds. Lyra felt the heat of one close hit brush her cheek, and she froze. Eyes met hers, steady and unwavering. "Get down," he ordered softly. He stepped in front of her, his stance protective, his expression serious. Then, almost gracefully, he launched himself into the fray. Aliens fell one after another. He dodged with impossible agility, striking with precision that seemed almost instinctual. Lyra's breath caught again and again, her disbelief growing into awe. The humans she had known in her world had never displayed such power, such courage. A fire erupted near the palace gate, smoke curling upward, and guards struggled to contain the chaos. Without hesitation, ripped a fallen pillar from the ground and used it to block an incoming attack, shoving multiple enemies aside in a single motion. Lyra's heart swelled with a strange mixture of fear and pride. She realized then, with a jolt, that she had never truly understood humans. They might appear ordinary, fragile even, but courage and determination could make them extraordinary. And here, in front of her very eyes, her husband was proving it. As the first wave of attackers began to retreat, a hush fell over the courtyard. Guards and palace staff alike looked toward, some in disbelief, others in cautious admiration. Lyra stepped closer to him, her hands trembling as she held his arm. "You," she breathed, unable to finish. Words felt too small for the shock and awe coursing through her. Looked at her, wiping a smear of alien ichor from his cheek, a quiet smile on his face. "I told you," he said softly, "I can handle this." Lyra's mind spun. She had thought he was ordinary, fragile, and helpless among the powerful beings of the Empire. But now she understood. He was anything but ordinary. And somewhere deep inside, a spark of hope ignited. If one human, one man she had married for love, could stand against these alien attackers, maybe there was a strength in humans that even they could never fully understand. For the first time, Lyra felt a mixture of fear and unshakable pride. Her human husband was no longer just a quiet, ordinary figure beside her. He was a force she had never imagined. And the night was far from over. The courtyard was littered with debris and smoldering fragments of alien machinery. Smoke curled into the night sky, carrying the acrid scent of burning metal. Lyra's breath came in shallow bursts as she looked around, her heart still hammering. Guards tended to the wounded, while others regrouped to secure the palace. Yet her eyes remained fixed on. He stood in the middle of the chaos, his chest heaving slightly from exertion but his posture unbroken. Sweat dampened his hair, and a smear of dark ichor ran down his cheek, yet he seemed untouchable. Every move he had made during the fight replayed in Lyra's mind like a vivid vision. How effortlessly he had dodged, struck, and lifted foes many times his size. She had believed humans to be fragile, delicate beings, but her husband had shattered that belief entirely. Lyra approached him cautiously. She said softly, her voice trembling, How did you do that? How are you so strong?" He turned to her, his eyes reflecting both concern and exhaustion. "I've trained for a long time," he admitted quietly. Not just my body, but my mind too. Humans have limits, yes, but courage, determination, and knowing what you are protecting, those make you stronger than you realize. Lyra shook her head, overwhelmed. I thought humans were ordinary, fragile, nothing compared to the... Her voice cracked with emotion. But you aren't ordinary at all. Took her hands in his grip firm and warm. I'm still just a man, Lyra, but love can push us beyond what seems possible. Tonight, I fought not to prove anything but to protect you and this palace. That's all that matters. Tears welled in Lyra's eyes. She had seen warriors, generals, and scholars wield incredible power, yet none had moved with the precision, speed, and instinct she had witnessed in him. He had faced enemies far stronger than himself and had not wavered once. For the first time, she truly understood that strength was not measured only by size, weaponry, or alien technology. It could be measured by courage, by heart, by the willingness to act when everyone else hesitated. And in that moment, her human husband had displayed a strength no could rival. She whispered, her voice barely audible. I've underestimated you. I judged you by appearances. I thought humans were too fragile to survive here, too weak to matter. But you, she paused, overwhelmed by emotion, you've shown me the truth. He smiled faintly, brushing a strand of her hair from her face. You don't have to understand it all right now, he said gently. You only need to know that I will always stand by you. No matter what comes, I'll protect you, even if it means standing alone. Lyra felt her chest tighten with both pride and fear. There was something so humbling and so powerful about the man before her. He was ordinary in appearance, human in every sense, yet extraordinary in every action he took, and the realization filled her with awe. Outside, the city remained tense. The enemy ships had retreated for the moment, but Lyra knew this was only temporary. The rogue faction would return, stronger and more relentless. And when they did, she would no longer look at her human husband with doubt or pity. She would look at him with respect, admiration, and love deeper than she had ever known. She stepped closer, pressing her forehead against his chest, feeling the steady beat of his heart. I thought I married an ordinary man, she admitted softly, but I see now, you are anything but ordinary. Held her tightly, his arms a shield against both the night and the fear that still lingered in her heart. Then don't ever forget it, he murmured. Humans may seem ordinary, but when it matters most, we rise. We survive. We protect what we love. Lyra lifted her head, looking into his eyes with newfound certainty. The man beside her was human. He was fragile in ways they could see, yet he carried a strength they could never match. And as the distant hum of enemy ships echoed faintly across the city, she realized she had witnessed something rare, a human's heart, unshakable, unstoppable, and truly extraordinary. The palace was quiet now, but the silence was heavy, filled with the lingering echoes of battle. Smoke rose from the courtyard, curling into the star-strewn sky. Lyra walked among the guards and servants, her mind still racing from what she had witnessed. Every step she took brought her closer to, who stood near the palace gates, watching the horizon with a distant look in his eyes. She hesitated for a moment, unsure how to approach him, fear and awe tangled in her chest. How can someone so ordinary appear so powerful? She wondered silently. The thought made her heart ache. She had loved him from the start, but now her love was mixed with disbelief and respect she had never known she could feel for a human. Finally, she stepped closer, her voice soft. He turned to her, his face weary yet calm. Lyra, he said quietly, don't worry. The palace is safe for now. She shook her head, tears brimming in her eyes. It's not just about the palace. It's you. I didn't understand. I thought humans were fragile, that you couldn't possibly survive in a world like this. But I was wrong. You've shown me everything humans can be. His eyes softened. He reached out, brushing a strand of her hair away. I am still just me, he said gently. A human. But humans have something unique, resilience, courage, and the will to protect those we love. Tonight I fought because I couldn't stand to see you in danger. That's all that matters." Lyra pressed her forehead against his chest, feeling his steady heartbeat beneath her. She could hardly believe how strong he had been, not just in body but in spirit. Every human flaw she had imagined, frailty, weakness, simplicity, had been erased in the span of a single night. I underestimated you," she admitted, her voice trembling. "I judged you by appearances, by what I thought humans could be, but you've taught me a lesson I'll never forget. Love, courage, determination, they make humans extraordinary. You are extraordinary." Held her tightly, wrapping his arms around her. "Lyra, don't ever doubt it. Humans rise when it matters most. We survive even against impossible odds, and we protect those we care for no matter the cost." She looked up at him, seeing not just her husband but a man who had everything she had believed about strength. She realized that the fear she had carried, the fear that humans were too weak for the universe, was gone. In its place was awe, admiration, and a deep, unshakable love. The distant hum of enemy ships reached their ears, a faint reminder that danger was not yet over. Lyra took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders, but beside her stood calm and unbroken. She felt a surge of hope. Together, they could face whatever came next. "I don't think I could ever doubt you again," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the quiet of the palace. "Not now, not ever. You've shown me what it means to be strong in ways I never imagined." Smiled faintly, a mixture of pride and tenderness in his expression. "Then trust me," he said softly. "We will face everything together. I will always protect you, and I will never let fear decide our fate." Lyra felt her heart swell with emotion. She had married a man she thought ordinary, but she now knew the truth. Humans, with their hearts and courage, were forces of nature, and her husband, the human she loved, had revealed the depth of that power. For the first time, Lyra felt completely safe, not because of the palace walls or the guards, but because of the man beside her. Her ordinary human husband had become her shield, her strength, and her hope. And as the night air settled around them, Lyra knew that no matter what the universe threw at them next, they would face it together, unshakable, unstoppable, and stronger than anyone could imagine. The night sky glowed with the ominous light of hundreds of alien ships gathering above the city. The rogue faction had returned, larger and more determined than before. Their ships moved in precise formation, a deadly ring surrounding the palace. The hum of their engines vibrated through the crystal streets, sending a shiver down Lyra's spine. The guards were exhausted. Many had fought in the first wave, and their energy weapons were nearly depleted. Panic rippled through the palace ranks as the enemy advanced with terrifying speed. Lyra's stomach tightened, and she found herself instinctively reaching for. He was already moving toward the front gates, calm and focused. "Lyra," he said without turning, "stay behind me, trust me." She hesitated, but the fear in her chest melted away at the sight of his unwavering expression. She nodded, knowing that for the first time she truly trusted her husband, not just as a companion but as a protector capable of things she could barely comprehend. The first alien wave struck with brutal force. Ships fired energy beams that cut through walls, while towering alien soldiers leapt from their ships, landing on the palace grounds with thundering impact. Guards were pushed back, their formations breaking as panic spread. Stepped forward, his stance steady. He didn't rely on technology or alien weaponry. Instead, he used his body with uncanny precision. He caught the first alien soldier mid-leap, twisting and throwing it back into another wave of attackers. Every movement was calculated, fluid, and devastating. Lyra's eyes widened with awe. His strength seemed limitless, his speed impossible for a human, and yet he was only a man. The rogue faction regrouped, sending massive energy blasts toward the gates. The weapons faltered and some soldiers were thrown aside. Lyra felt a knot of fear tighten in her chest, but moved without hesitation, lifting a massive crystal pillar to shield the palace entrance. With a single, powerful motion, he threw it into a group of enemies, sending them tumbling in all directions. Lyra's heart pounded. She had never seen a human move like this, not in stories, not in history, not even in her wildest imagination. Her husband, the man she had thought ordinary, was changing the course of the battle with sheer strength and skill. As the fighting raged, Lyra felt her emotions overwhelm her. Pride, fear, awe, and love collided in her chest. She realized then that she had underestimated humans for her entire life. They were fragile, yes, but when faced with impossible odds, their courage and willpower could surpass anything, even the most advanced warriors. His eyes met hers briefly, and in that moment Lyra felt a surge of reassurance. "I will always protect you," his gaze seemed to say, and she knew he meant it, not just as a warrior but as a husband, a human who had chosen love and duty over fear. The alien soldiers faltered, confused by his unrelenting strength. The rogue fleet hesitated, unsure how to respond to a human who moved faster and struck harder than anyone expected. One by one, their formations began to break, and the palace guards, inspired by his courage, pushed forward with renewed determination. Lyra stepped closer, still behind him, unable to tear her eyes away from the man who had become the heart of the battle. She felt tears prick at her eyes, not from fear but from awe. Her husband was no ordinary human. He was extraordinary. And as the night stretched on, the rogue faction wavered under unstoppable force. The princess realized, with a mix of relief and wonder, that humans could rise above the impossible. And in her heart, she knew that no matter what the universe sent against them next, her husband would face it with unshakable courage, and she would stand by him, forever. The aftermath of the battle left the palace and its courtyard in chaos. Crumbling walls, scorched earth, and the occasional flicker of dying lights marked the devastation. But amidst the ruins, one figure stood tall, the human who had changed the course of the fight. His chest rose and fell with measured breaths, his clothes torn and smudged with alien ichor, yet his posture remained unbroken. Lyra approached slowly, her heart pounding with both relief and awe. Every step toward him felt surreal. She had watched him fight, move, and strike with a skill no warrior possessed, and yet here he was, human and flesh, as if nothing extraordinary had occurred. She whispered, her voice trembling with emotion. He turned to her, his expression softening. "Lyra," he said quietly, "are you all right?" She nodded, but tears brimmed in her eyes. I can't believe what I saw tonight. You fought like no human should ever be able to fight. You moved faster than the guards, struck with strength I didn't know humans had. I don't even know how to explain it." Offered a small, tired smile. "I'm still human," he said gently. "But humans have a strange kind of power. It's not about alien technology or physical perfection. It's about heart, determination, protecting what you love. That's what makes us strong. That's what let me fight tonight." Lyra felt a lump in her throat. She had spent her life surrounded by beings of incredible power, beings who could bend elements, manipulate energy, and move planets. She had thought she understood strength, and then had fought and she realized she had been wrong. Humans carried a different kind of power, one that came from courage, love, and an unyielding will. I always thought humans were fragile," Lyra admitted, her voice breaking. "I thought you were ordinary, but you've shown me that you're anything but. You're extraordinary." Took her hands in his, holding them firmly. "Lyra, I didn't fight to prove anything. I fought to protect you, to protect this city, and to make sure we survive. That's all that matters. You don't have to call me extraordinary. You just have to know I'll always be here for you." She pressed her forehead against his chest, feeling his steady heartbeat. The warmth of his body, the calmness in his eyes, and the quiet strength he radiated filled her with emotions she had never known before. Fear, pride, admiration, and love intertwined until they became one overwhelming force inside her. "The palace, the people, the city," she said softly, glancing at the remnants of the battlefield. "Without you, we would have lost everything. You stood against impossible odds, and yet you protected all of us." Shrugged lightly, a modest smile playing on his lips. "I'm just one man," he said, "but sometimes one man is all it takes, and tonight love and courage were stronger than any weapon or alien army." Lyra lifted her head to look into his eyes, feeling a deep certainty she had never felt before. "I've learned something important tonight," she said. "Humans are fragile in appearance, yes, but our courage, our love, it can change the course of worlds. You've proven it. You've proven that humans can be stronger than even the mightiest." His gaze softened as he tucked a strand of her hair behind her ear. "Then let's face whatever comes next together," he whispered. "Because together, there's nothing we can't overcome." For the first time in her life, Lyra felt completely safe, not because of walls, guards, or alien technology, but because of the man standing before her. Ordinary in form, yes, but extraordinary in every other way. And as the dawn began to creep across the shattered horizon, painting the sky in shades of gold and crimson, Lyra knew one undeniable truth. Her human husband was no ordinary man. He was a force of heart and courage, a protector, and the embodiment of human resilience. The princess had seen the truth. Humans were remarkable, and her husband, her, was living proof. The first rays of dawn stretched across the city, painting the crystal towers in shades of gold and rose. The battle was over, the rogue faction defeated, and the palace, though, stood tall. Lyra stepped onto the balcony, her eyes scanning the horizon. The city was quiet now, but the memory of the night's chaos still lingered in the air. Stood beside her, leaning lightly against the balcony railing. His clothes were torn, his skin smudged with dust and alien ichor, yet his presence was calm and unwavering. He looked at the horizon with a quiet determination, the kind that had kept the palace safe and the enemy at bay. Lyra's heart swelled as she watched him, awe and love mingling into a force stronger than anything she had ever felt. "I thought I married an ordinary man," she said softly, breaking the silence. Her voice trembled, but there was a strength in it now. "Someone gentle, fragile, who would need protecting, but I see now how wrong I was." Turned to her, his tired eyes lighting up with a faint smile. "Ordinary doesn't mean powerless," he said gently. "Sometimes, being ordinary means having the courage to rise when everything seems lost, and love gives that courage." Lyra pressed her hand to his chest, feeling the steady beat of his heart beneath her palm. "I underestimated humans and I underestimated you, but tonight I saw the truth. You are extraordinary, stronger than any army, braver than any warrior, and mine." Smile widened, though his exhaustion was clear. "Lyra, I am still just a human," he said softly. "But humans have a power that no one else can match. The will to protect, the courage to face the impossible, and the heart to fight for what we love. That is all I have ever needed to be extraordinary." Lyra's eyes filled with tears, a mixture of relief, pride, and deep admiration. She had grown up in a world of beings who could manipulate energy, bend matter, and wield unimaginable strength. Yet none of them had moved like had tonight. His power wasn't in weapons or alien abilities. It was in his heart, his courage, and his unwavering determination. "I see it now," she whispered, resting her forehead against his shoulder. "I see why I love you. I see why you are more than ordinary. You are unstoppable." Wrapped his arms around her, pulling her close. "And I love you, Lyra. I fought because I had to protect you, yes, but also because I wanted to be by your side. No matter what the universe throws at us, we face it together." The city around them began to stir. Guards repaired barricades, citizens emerged cautiously, and the first whispers of relief floated through the air. But Lyra didn't notice any of it. She only saw human, fragile in appearance, yet stronger than anyone she had ever known. For the first time, she understood that strength was not measured by power alone. It was measured by courage, love, and the willingness to act when it mattered most. Humans, she realized, carried that strength in abundance, and her husband had proven it in a way no one could deny. Lyra took a deep breath, looking up at the morning sky. "This is a new beginning," she said. "For us, for the city, for humans and alike. Together we can face anything." Held her hand, his grip firm and steady. "Together," he agreed. "No matter what comes, we will rise. Not because we are invincible, but because we refuse to give up. Because we love, and that love is stronger than any enemy." As the sun rose higher, casting its golden light across the palace and city, Lyra knew the universe had changed for her. The human she had married, the man she had once thought ordinary, had shown her the true meaning of strength. And in that moment, with the wind carrying the scent of victory and hope, Lyra understood the truth. Human courage, heart, and love could move worlds. And with by her side, there was nothing they could not face. The princess had seen the extraordinary in the ordinary, and it had changed everything.